Hey folks, glad you could be with me. Just give me a minute and I'm going to come over there and I'm going to explain what I'm doing. Got interesting topic today, and you'll see this horse is kind of all over the place here. Well, it's kind of part of the topic, but I'll be right there. So I guess I should explain what I'm doing, what's going on here, because this is going to be an interesting one. Well, it's kind of interesting. Well, it's always interesting, but like I've said in the past, I like to share real life experiences and things like that because it just seems to work better. I know for me personally, it was much easier for me to learn watching guys working with green horses, basically real world stuff where they were actually starting a completely untrained horse from scratch. So I try to do as much real stuff. You know, I don't stage anything I do, any of the demos or anything I do, they're not staged. This is real world stuff. Now, in the background over there, well, you can see there's actually two over there. One's on the outside of the round pen, the other one's on the inside of the round pen. Forget that the round pen exists, we're not going to talk about that. It just happens to be where I'm working today, and I'm going to use it just because it's here. And it's the most convenient place around here for doing what I want to do. But what I'm doing, now this goes back to, actually a couple of things that I've said. First off, I did a video a while back. I talked about the tune-up scam and how a lot of people, will convince you to spend lots of money to tune up your horse, when in fact there's nothing wrong with the horse, because horses have phenomenal memories and they don't forget stuff. Which leads me to my next thing, because I think I already know the answer to what we're doing here. But this horse here, now, I'm not going to go into detail as to why, because there's actually been a couple of reasons. It would take too long to explain. But she actually hasn't been ridden in probably, 5, 6 years. But am I going to do a tune-up? No. But I am going to do something else. Maybe it's a little similar to what a tune-up would entail, but being that she's kind of fussy about who actually gets on her, there'd be absolutely no point in me hiring somebody to do it, because she probably wouldn't even let them get on. She's a bit of a weirdo. She's also an exception to a lot of rules, but this also goes back to symptoms versus problems, because what's happening is I actually got her on her for the first time last week, and she didn't seem to have a clue what I wanted. Well, at least that's the way she acted. Now, was that actually the problem? Was it that she didn't know because she hadn't been ridden for so long? Now, there's a lot of things that could be going on here, and we got to figure this out. Is she confused by the fact that she hasn't been ridden for so long she really doesn't know what my cues mean anymore? I don't think that's the case. I know this horse quite well because she's been with me for quite a few years, and I know that she has a habit of sometimes when you want her to do things, she'll act like she has no idea what you want to kind of get out of doing them. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand that? Yeah, and well, a lot of people say that's not possible. Horses can't do stuff like that. They don't have the part of the brain. That's a bunch of nonsense. They do have that part of the brain, and this one would very, very quickly disprove that theory too, in that, she can do some interesting things, and it's not like I haven't worked with her for 5 or 6 years either. I've been doing all kinds of liberty stuff and everything. I just haven't actually ridden her. I've had several other horses, and they needed my attention. And riding's not top on my list, but since we've downsized and she's the only one I have at the moment, I figured, we better get back to riding. And she's at a point now where, at least from a medical standpoint, I think she's fit to be ridden again. So we're going to get back to that, and I even bought a special saddle for her because she's got a unique shape that requires a special saddle. So we're going to get back to riding her. But like I said, we're running into problems. I get on her, and it's like she has no idea what I want her to do. And, well, does she really not know? Or is she pretending she doesn't know? And we don't know this for sure one way or the other, but just from experience with this horse and the fact I know this horse, I'm suspecting she's just playing with me again, because she has done this in the past, where she pretends like she doesn't know what I want, because she thinks if she acts the fool long enough, I'll give up and quit. or she can get out of doing it somehow. I don't really know. I don't understand, because I don't know what's going on in that head, but I've got an idea, and I think it's actually, she knows full well she hasn't forgotten anything, and she's proven to me that her memory is actually quite good, and the fact that she did something for me years ago when I was riding her that I didn't even know she knew how to do when I contacted her original trainer, because I didn't teach her everything she knows. The initial training was done by someone else, and I contacted them, and they go, oh yeah, she was just learning that. And it was like 3 years later she did it flawlessly. So yeah, not only does she learn very quickly, but doesn't forget things either, because she remembered 3 years later exactly what to do and how to do it. And I suspect that's what's going on right now, is she does know what to do, but she's just pretending she doesn't know, and to get out of doing it, or something like that. I don't know. But see, this is where I go back to what I've said before about symptoms versus problems. Is these are the symptoms. She's acting like she doesn't know. But what's really the problem? Is it that she actually doesn't know, and she needs a refresher or a tune-up of some kind? Or is it simply a case of that's just her way of getting out of things? Is that the problem? In which case she has to realize that when I get on her that I'm serious, I'm not playing anymore. She must do what I ask her to do. And well, that's what we're going to be working on. So that's why I said I'll explain what I'm doing. That's why we're in the round pen here. We've got a confined space where the other horse is on the other side of the fence, and we can work with her by herself. She's still very good about being saddled up. I can get on her. She doesn't freak out or nothing like that. Very good. We don't have any problems in those departments. So I think we're going to go ahead with seeing what we can get her to do. We're going to go about things as if she had never been ridden before, and just in case there is some issue there somewhere, somehow, that we don't quite understand. But I think that once she realizes I'm serious about things, she will very quickly comply to my requests and do what she's supposed to be doing. But this, like I said, this goes back to two topics I've talked about. Tune-ups. Do horses forget things and need tune-ups? No, they don't forget nothing. Has she forgotten? I doubt it. I don't think she has, actually. She acts like she has, but I'm not convinced that that's real. I think that she might be putting on a bit of a game for me. But either way, we're going to get on her, and we're going to work on things. And if she comes along real quick, then we'll know darn well that she hasn't forgotten anything. She was just messing with me, which wouldn't surprise me. You might end up with a very unique horse like this. That's one of the things. One of the reasons I kept this horse is I don't think anybody else would understand her. She's a very unique horse, very weird. Okay, I'm being polite. I'm being, really, honestly, I love this horse, but to say that she's weird is still being very polite. She has some very peculiar behaviors sometimes, and can be a bit of a handful to ride, sometimes a little bit of a problem, and she's not something that most people would understand or know how to deal with, which is one of the reasons that I've kept her, is because I know this horse. I know her quite well. I understand her, and I know how to deal with her, and I don't really mind. Actually, there's a lot of characteristics about this horse I really, really like, and in spite of the fact that she can be a real pain sometimes, I love this horse. I really do. I love this horse. She's got some magnificent characteristics that I can't say enough good about. So that's what we're up to today. We're going to figure out exactly what our problem is, not the symptoms. I know what they are, and they're pretty simple. But we're going to work on this horse and figure out the problems, because like I said, she has not been ridden in 5 or 6 years. I don't even know. I've lost track of how long it's been. It's been quite a while, but I'm not going to give her a tune-up. I am going to do something similar in a way. I'm going to start off with as if she's never been ridden, and I'm going to kind of start cueing her from there and see what I can get her to do. And I think that once she figures out I'm serious about stuff, she's going to do whatever I want, because even the last time I got on her, she actually did a side pass perfectly for me. And, that's a fairly intricate maneuver for a lot of horses, and she had no problem with that one. She could stop, she could back up, she could turn, she just wouldn't go forward. But she's actually done that in the past too, where she would actually back herself up against a fence or a barn or whatever and just refuse to move. And so, you know, some of the things that she's doing are not entirely foreign to me. She's done them before, and I'm quite convinced that she actually knows what she's supposed to be doing. We just have to convince her that, yeah, guess what, you have to do them. You know, this isn't much of an option. But that's where we're at today, and I thought I'd share that with you. The horses do not need tune-ups. They remember things. And problems versus symptoms again. The problem, or the symptoms are, you know, she's acting like she doesn't have a clue what I want. Is that really what's going on? What's the real problem? Is it a problem that she's just having a sense of humor that I don't share and she's messing with me, or what? But we're going to figure it out, and I'll get back to you on the next video. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about our progress, assuming we have some. I'm pretty sure I will. But yeah, I'll get back to you. And in the meantime, you know, think about the things that you're seeing. Are they really the problems? You know, you might have a peculiar horse that does some odd things. And don't jump to conclusions as to what really is going on. I'm not doing that. You know, I've already theorized a couple of scenarios that are possible as to what the real problem is. And well, even in the beginning there, you saw she didn't want to stand still. She was turning this way, that way. Those are the kind of weird things she does. That's just a small example. And I don't think it's that she doesn't know what she's supposed to be doing. It's simply a case of, well, for one thing, she has not been ridden in a very long time. And even when I wouldn't ride her for a couple months at a time, when I'd get on, the first couple of minutes were rather, how shall we say, interesting. And she very quickly fell into the groove and did what she was supposed to. So that's also a possibility, is it just needs a couple of minutes of getting back into the groove of being ridden, and she'll be fine. We'll see. But that's what we're dealing with, and I just thought I'd share that with you. A little more real world stuff is, this is the real world, this is what we're doing. A horse that hasn't been ridden in many years, and she has been ridden in the past. I know, I've ridden her. And she's a very smart horse, and she's got some moves, and she's capable of doing a lot. So I think that in a very short order, we're going to have a really good horse again. So I'll get back to you when we make a little progress, and I'll show you what we've got. Have a good day.